Man, I really hope we're recording, right? So we got like 4% battery out here. But it's all good, right? We're still gonna go out and do our thing, so let's see. So, there we go. So as I'm out here and it's about to rain, let's think for what we're gonna talk about, what we're gonna say within these last few moments. So let's see. Man, it was such a nice day to be on a motorcycle today. Man, I'd love to be on a bike, right? Wouldn't that be awesome if we had a bike to go on, right? Or in this case, in the water, a boat or a jet ski, and be out on the water, enjoying that. So I'd say, oh yeah. And that's not to say, right? Because I over here talk about working hard a lot and always grinding and being on your purpose. You know, there's of course times where you want to relax and take a break and get on that boat and enjoy it, because if you don't, you'll go crazy. You'll be, you know, sort of burned out, if you've ever heard that famous term. So here we go, we're gonna run across and see. And we're gonna continue. And yeah, that would happen to me a lot. And as a college student, I would have the unfortunate occurrence of being burned out, because I had a tendency as to when I would have like these open gaps of time or simply lack of work, I would decide to fill them with more work or something to do. And what that would do is pretty much never give me a break or defined time of rest to relax my mind and my thoughts and my body and give it a break, because I was always working. I was always doing something, hopefully productive, you know. So with that, and you don't always want to be relaxing, you know, and winding down, because that can be quite detrimental in itself, because you're essentially not doing anything. But what you'll come to realize is the importance of stopping and taking a break, because oftentimes what you'll realize is that you needed that thing. That little break helped you to recharge your battery, right? Your physical ability to finish something, and enabled you to do more within that day or week or time frame that you're specified, because we're not robots. We need rest, because simply put, we fatigue. We run out of energy. I'd love to say that I can keep doing this and never stop, and you know, for a seemingly infinite amount of time, and I'll be, you know, lying to you if I told you that. But with that, you gotta, you know, because that's presented to you, you gotta know when to stop, when to keep going, and when to interpret it as simply your mind playing a trick on you. Because for a lot of people, it feels a lot better to relax and stop and take a break than it does to go out and put in the work. And I, for one, depending on what it is, of course, I'm quite the opposite. I find joy, you know, in seemingly torturing myself and putting myself through the ringer of strenuous activities than I do relaxing. Because when I do relax, oftentimes I find myself thinking about work, thinking about stuff I should have done or that I have to do in the future, which you can argue is not the smartest thing to do. But, and that doesn't mean that I don't try to combat that behavior, But that's just the way I'm wired, you know, that I found myself to be. And that's not to say that I'm, you know, gonna succumb to that and stop trying to break that habit. But coming to that understanding helps me realize, and you might also be like this as well, that you gotta stop and take a break. Because if you don't, it'll be bad for you. It'll be worse than if you kept working, you know. So with that, you know when to stop, know when to take a break, know when it's time to keep pushing. And I'll say that usually the problem is that you're not working hard enough, that you're not putting in enough hours to do what you're doing. Yeah, of course that has its place, but you know what you got to do. You got to go, you got to put in the work. You can't just sit around and BS your way through life and, you know, hope people give you free handouts, because I like to tell, I'll be the first one to tell you that that's just BS. That doesn't exist. People don't go around and give you free stuff. You gotta go and you gotta earn it. You gotta work for it. No one's gonna simply just stand around and knock on your door and give you that promotion that you've always wanted. Hate to break it to you, but that's just the way it is. So, knowing that, you gotta get out of your house. You know, step out of your comfort zone and go to work. You can't just sit around, do nothing. What's that for? That's for losers. That's for people who can't do what they want to do, who can't achieve what they want to achieve. That's for people, the dreamers, the haters, the naysayers. Those are the ones that when you're out doing something that you've always wanted to do, they're the ones to disregard it and to lower it and to try to make you feel bad that you're doing it. Those are the people you want to run from. You know, if you come across those people, run as fast as you can, because those people are toxic. These aren't the people that you want around you. They're not going to bring you up. They don't want the best for you. They're only going to bring you down with them. And that's when the whole idea of crabs in a bucket, which you probably heard, you know, that concept of where, you know, your friends, you know, you have your group of friends, or your circle of people and everything. You're a bunch of crabs. And what do crabs do when they're inside a bucket is, as one tries to get out and escape the perils or unfortunate situations that they may come across, all the other crabs try to pull it down. Now, as shockingly as that may be, because what you want to do is you want to be that crab that escapes and finds a better life, you know, from your hometown or your unfortunate upbringing or good upbringing. You know, you want to do your own thing for you. And unfortunately, what happens to a lot of people that try and do that and be that outlier is that they find themselves being influenced negatively by their friends. The people who they thought were their true supporters and admirers and people that had their back through thin and thin actually don't want the best for them and are quite the opposite of friends. So, as sad as that may sound, they are the other crabs in that bucket that are pulling you down, and you want to get away from them. So what you can do is slowly start to dissociate yourself from those friends, or, you know, lower your contacts with them. Say you were seeing them every day, your best buddies, right? People that you thought you couldn't live without, right? You're seeing them every day. Start to see them every other day, then 3 days a week, then 2 days in one, right? Once a month. Yeah. So what you'll realize is that being around them less and less, you have less of their influence on you, and you start to do more of your own actions. You start to act on your own accord more because their influence on you becomes diminished the less time you spend with them. And I'll be the first to admit that, you know, people that I hung around with, especially in high school, weren't doing the most productive and, I say, ideal activities. Some were, you know, doing drugs, doing criminal stuff, petty stuff, whatever, but it wasn't the best stuff. And I, for one, being around these people for so long and spending time with them, I started to rationalize in my mind that this behavior was okay, that this was the right way to go, that I should be doing this essentially. So what happened was, before I realized it, I started degenerating as a person. I started to become stuck in that same bucket that they were in, and I couldn't get out. You know, the only way out was through was getting away from those people, which I eventually did.